Well, hello, everybody. It's Dr. David Jockers, and today I'm talking about this new study. It's fasting side effects, and we're going to talk about basically a study that came out here early this year. And so if you're coming in, you can go ahead and chat in, and I'm going to try to address any questions that you guys have as we go through this, and let me know that you can hear me as well. So hopefully the volume is coming in well. Okay, so you guys have heard me say this before, but when you fast, your body gets really good at using energy in the most efficient manner possible. So our body is designed for survival. So when we fast, our body has to get more efficient because it has less energy coming in. And so there are a lot of mechanisms that take place in order for our body to adapt and become more efficient. And so this study here, which came out in January of 2019, it was done at the Böttinger Wilhelm Medical Center in Germany, which is basically like a fasting retreat center. So there are many of these actually all around the world. And this is really, natural healing. People have been doing this for thousands of years, right? Going to remote areas or retreats and doing fasting. And so in our modern society, this can be really helpful for people that want to do an extended fast and get the benefits of it. And so there were 1,422 people in this study. 60% of them were women. 63% were not obese, okay, that were doing these sorts of extended fasts. 4 groups. Actually, I go through it here. 4 fasting groups. A group that did a 5-day fast, a group that did a 10-day fast, a group that did a 15, and a group that did a 20-day fast. Now, it wasn't a true 100% water fast. At this center, they recommend 200 to 250 calories per day, and basically what they do is you do a fruit or vegetable juice in the midday. Okay, they didn't actually say what was in the juice, but you're basically 250 milliliters. So you're thinking 100, 125 calories. And then they would do a vegetable soup in the evening as well, which was roughly, again, 125 calories or so, 100, 125 calories. So in the medical literature, anything under 25% of our daily caloric needs, or roughly under 500 calories, is considered fasting. So even though this wasn't a true water fast, it's certainly considered a water fast, or basically like a extended fast. And so here's what they found, okay? 93.2% of the subjects experienced little to no hunger and reported a feeling of physical and emotional well-being. Among the 404 subjects with pre-existing health complaints, 341, so almost 85%, reported a subjective improvement in these complaints. So they took out, there was no pregnant women, there was no people with eating disorders and certain other conditions, but there was a lot of people. Pretty much just about everybody had inflammatory conditions, like rheumatoid arthritis, for example, would be, an example of an inflammatory condition. And so, again, these people, 93% experienced little or no hunger. Almost 85% noticed a big improvement in their symptoms. And adverse effects were observed in less than 1%, 0.7% of subjects. Only 2 of the 1,422 people had to interrupt the fasting. And this is big because, in our society, a lot of people are scared of fasting in the United States and Western countries because it's not something, it hasn't been a part of our culture and how we were raised. But as you could see, these were extended fasts, medically supervised extended fasts. Only 2 people had to interrupt the fasting. And so the side effects, about 15% noticed sleep disturbances. And I find this as well, when I'm working with people in my fasting groups, that sleep disturbance is probably one of the biggest things because our cortisol levels go up because our body's saying, oh, wow, there's no food. We need to have higher amounts of stress hormones. So there's a short-term rise in some of our stress hormones, which can disrupt our sleep. Fatigue, which you would expect with fasting, especially as the body has got to metabolically adapt from burning sugar for fuel to ketones. But only 14% noticed fatigue. I mean, 14% is like 1 out of 9 people. So you would think it would be a lot higher than that. Dry mouth, right? About 9%, back pain, 7%. So, sometimes you can have an increase in pain, for example. I've seen this before as well. And oftentimes that has to do with the body actually trying to heal that area. So when we free up energy, when we're doing a fast and we free up our energy because we're not digesting food, that energy oftentimes will go into breaking down scar tissue and rebuilding new healthy tissue. And in some cases, particularly in our joints, at times we can notice a little bit more joint pain. So it's not uncommon, but as you could see, about 7.5% of folks notice that. Okay, so overall, when we look at these symptoms, very low percentage actually having these symptoms. So I tell people to expect lower energy at some point when you're doing a fast. I tell them to expect possible sleep disturbances. But as you can see, again, not everybody has these. And, obviously that's a great thing. And we don't want to deal with these. And of course, we know that fasting is one of the best ways to just clear out cellular garbage. Okay. So I think it is the best way to do it. So our body goes through this process of autophagy where we break down these older, damaged cellular organelles and we pull out bad mitochondria and bad proteins, and we actually recycle the components, and form new healthy proteins. And this is one of the best defenses, like our natural built-in defense from chronic disease, from developing chronic disease. I mean, doing, even one extended fast, 5-day fast, 5-day fast, somewhere in there, like a 3 to 5 day or maybe up to a 7-day fast a year can be one of the most powerful strategies that you take to prevent any sort of chronic disease. And then, of course, living a healthy lifestyle in general, throughout the year. I think that's extremely important. Now, a common question I'll get from people is how long and how often to fast. Now, remember, in the fasting study, they did a 5-day, 15, a 10, and a 20. So there's 4 groups. And most of the people were not obese. There's only about a third of the people that were obese, 2/3 that were not obese. Okay. However, and 60% of them were women. And a lot of people will say, well, women are going to have problems with fasting. Well, as you can see, again, the side effects were not that bad. Now, again, this wasn't a 100% water fast. It would have been more like a juice fast, but again, very low calorie, no more than 250 calories in the day. But thin, lean people, like I'm very thin, very lean, 8% body fat. My main goal is reducing inflammation, okay, and chronic disease, right? So it's like I don't have a chronic disease. I'm healthy, but I want to keep inflammation under control. I'll do like a 3 to 5 day fast once or twice a year typically. The most I would recommend for a thin or lean person would be to do a fast like that every 8 to 12 weeks. So that's roughly every 2 to 3 months, because you need to be refeeding as well. Your body needs to know it's not in a state of long-term famine. So long-term caloric restriction causes a lot of problems. We don't want that. So normal weight people, okay, 4 to 7 days, and possibly doing it every 6 to 8 weeks. Overweight people, 5 to 10 plus days, possibly doing it every month. It depends how overweight you are. If you're very obese, there's people that have done 40-day fasts like twice in a year and gotten amazing results. It's just really going to be more of a case-by-case basis, and obviously always a good idea to talk with your healthcare practitioner. But, I've had overweight people do 10-day fasts every month, right, where they eat 20 days out of the month and they fast 10 days. And that can be really powerful as well. So depends on your body type and your goals, how often you want to fast. But again, if you're not battling a chronic disease or you're just not trying to aggressively reduce inflammation, then just doing a longer fast once or maybe twice a year is really all that you need. Okay, and that can prevent chronic disease. And then again, of course, living a healthy lifestyle, practicing some form of intermittent fasting on a regular basis, I would recommend for sure, whether you're doing 1, 2, or 3 meals a day in a certain eating window, like an 8-hour eating window or a 6-hour eating window. Picking out, the meals and the timing for that on a regular basis is really important. Now, if you are doing a extended fast, these are signs that you'd want to break your fast. If you are doing a fast, once you get past day 3, you shouldn't really notice much hunger. Okay, so that would be like the first 3 days you might notice hunger. By the end of day 3, day 4, really hunger goes away. But if it comes back at some point, then that's a sign you should break your fast. You got to listen to your body. If you have an increase in heart palpitations, we don't really want to mess with that. It's certainly taking a little bit of salt, maybe a little magnesium, should be able to calm that down. But if it doesn't, then I would recommend breaking your fast. Okay, an increase in hair loss. You're fasting and all of a sudden hair starts coming out. Your thyroid may need more stimulus. So, coming off of breaking your fast would be important. Obviously, dangerous things like losing your consciousness, passing out, extreme pain. We talked about pain getting worse and body healing. But if you're having extreme pain that gets even worse when you're fasting, obviously break the fast then. If you're too weak to get out of bed, like you weren't like that before you started fasting and then you started fasting and you just got extremely weak, it could be a medical emergency. You might be extremely anemic or something like that. So break your fast. Again, notice too much weight loss or for whatever reason you're having heavy bouts of vomiting or diarrhea, you're going to need more electrolytes. Certainly go ahead and break your fast. So that's what you'd want to do. Strategies to prepare for an extended fast. These are all things that are going to help. And at the retreat center, again, that was a retreat center. And that one of the reasons why the symptoms that people were experiencing were less is because they were at a retreat center. So by nature, they were relaxing. They had less, they really didn't have much stress on them, if any. And they were also around positive people that were also motivated to do this. And that's another big thing, just being around other people doing this, like the community support and being around motivated people makes a big difference. So if you're going to do an extended fast, you want to obviously be at least avoid negative people if you can't get around other people doing the fast. But you got to keep your stress down, drink plenty of filtered water. You can have some salts. I'm a huge fan of, if you're doing a fast, go get a massage. So that can really help you feel good. Also helps your body to eliminate toxins, detoxify and heal and regenerate faster. So that's good. Obviously trying to avoid being around food, getting your body grounded, getting bare feet on grass, dirt, sand, things like that. Very important. Get sunshine, moving, and resting when you need to. And all these things were possible at that retreat center. So people basically, had the right environment to get good results with fasting. And that's something that you want to be able to set yourself up for. If you can't make it to a retreat center, certainly trying to just create, your own retreat center, by creating the environment in your home and keeping your stress down and everything like that. You're keeping your schedule under control. Now, when you break an extended fast, you always want to make sure that you're doing it appropriately, because when you're doing an extended fast, your digestive system shuts down. So if you were to go ahead and break a fast and eat a handful of almonds, you need a lot of digestive juices, stomach acid, bile, pancreatic enzymes to break that down. You're going to overwhelm the system. It's going to be very stressful on your body. So when you break a fast, for every 2 to 3 days of fasting, you should give yourself 1 full day of recovery. So if you do a 3-day fast, you should give yourself about 24 hours before you eat harder things to digest: meat, nuts, heavy starches, stuff like that. 5 to 6 day fast, you should give yourself 2 recovery days. 8 to 10 day fast, 3 recovery days. So what do you eat when you break your fast? You do juices, you do fermented vegetables, sauerkraut, kimchi, pickles, things like that. Soups, broths. Bone broth is a really good idea. Vegetable soups, fermented drinks like kombucha or coconut water kefir. You could do well-steamed vegetables like steamed broccoli or cauliflower. You wouldn't want to do raw just because it's going to be a lot harder for your body. You need more enzymes to break that down, the harder cellulose, the harder outer fibers. But when it's already pre-digested, in a sense, like when it's broken down by the steam, so steamed vegetables, it's a lot easier. That's what you want to do. You might introduce a little bit of olive oil or a little bit of avocado in there, but not much. Keep it very small, because again, your body's going to have trouble producing enough bile to really metabolize it. And so you don't want to do too much, like a teaspoon of olive oil, right? Or, no more than a quarter of an avocado in a meal in the beginning. Okay, and then over time, obviously, you start adding more. Okay, and some people, their digestive system will come back quicker than others. So you got to just kind of watch your body, but to be on the safe side, follow this guide right here, and that will help. Okay, so hopefully this was helpful for you guys. I'm going to try to scroll through here and see what questions you guys have and address those. Let's see. S. Morton says extended fasting stimulates stem cells, which will work to heal your damaged tissues, and autophagy, which will regenerate and repair damaged cells. In short, an extended fast for healing? Absolutely. Yes, extended fast, so powerful for healing by stimulating autophagy and then new embryonic stem cells, which are really, they have a lot of resilience. And so when these stem cells are young, so they're very youthful and strong, and they can basically help rebuild the body, and they're more resilient than the older cells. And so we want these sorts of, we want this stimulus for these stem cells because they're going to, again, be able to withstand stress better, give us better performance, longevity, right? Anti-aging. We're going to, obviously have a lot of positive characteristics from that. Let's see. A lot of people coming from all over. Easy says doing a 4-day water fast now. Good to go. That's awesome. Really proud of you. 4-day water fast. You're going to get phenomenal breakthroughs with that. Really great healing on a 4-day fast. Let's see. Keto Mama says, I'm on keto 2+ years. Love your show. Thank you so much. I'm glad to hear that. Ketogenic diet is a great way to get your body adapted into being able to fast, right? So I always recommend before engaging on an extended fast, doing something like 4 to 6 weeks on a ketogenic diet. Also practicing intermittent fasting will help your body become fat adapted, keto adapted, and be able to handle these sorts of fasts more effectively. Okay, let's see. Isadora says, so far I fasted only for 22 hours, but I'm only fasting for 1 week and I raise 2 hours every day. So that's a great strategy. So she's been starting for just a week and she's extending 2 hours each day. And that can be a good strategy. Start with like 12 hours, go up to 14, go to 16, just kind of try to find a sweet spot for you. And so you might be able to get to where you're just doing 1 meal a day and you feel good with that. And that's awesome. Okay. Or you may need like a 6-hour eating window, and eating 2 meals a day, something like that. So you may just do 1 meal a day twice a week, like I do. So you kind of experiment and find the best intermittent fasting strategy that works for you. I know for myself, what I found is I tried to extend it to, so what I do is 2 meals a day, typically in a 6-hour eating window on most days. Every now and then, based on challenges with schedule, it might extend to like an 8-hour eating window, but that's rare. It's usually a 6-hour eating window, 5 to 6 hours. And then 2 days a week, I do 1 meal a day. Okay. And those days, I typically don't exercise intensely. I move, might go out for a jog or something like that, but I don't do heavy weight training or anything along those lines. And I only eat 1 meal. And what I tried was pushing it to 3 days a week where I just do 1 meal. But I noticed I was losing too much weight. And so for me, 5 days eating 2 meals, 2 days eating 1 meal. And when I eat, I always eat pretty large meals. Okay. So when I do eat, I eat a lot. I don't try to calorie restrict or anything. I eat till I feel full, till I feel satiated. But doing that, I found is just a sweet spot for me, for performance, for energy, mental clarity. So that doesn't mean it's going to be the same for you. You got to figure out what works best for you. But it takes some experimentation to do that. Let's see. Levon says, just did a 94-hour fast. My glucose dropped to 48. Is that too low? Great question, Levon. It's not too low if you feel good. So if you're doing an extended fast, 94 hours, obviously that's about 4 days. So you should be keto adapted by that point. So if your blood glucose is 48, and you feel you've got heart palpitations, you're sweating, you feel irritable, you've got your hunger cravings, that's a sign you're not keto adapted. But if your blood sugar drops to 48 and you feel very mentally clear, you feel energetic, you don't even feel hungry, that's a sign your body's using ketones for fuel and your body's adapted. It's got that alternative fuel source. Totally fine to have a blood sugar of 48 if that's the case, if you feel good. So again, it's extreme hypoglycemia If you're not keto adapted, but if you're keto adapted, which most people are by 94 hours into a fast, then it's a great thing to have your blood sugar that low. So hopefully that helps. Let's see. Yeah, not seeing any other questions there. So hopefully this is a helpful training for you guys. And, thanks again for being a part of our online community here on YouTube. If you're not already subscribed, please do. And also hit the bell button, which is right next to the subscribe button, whether you're subscribed or not. That way you'll get a notification whenever I go live. And I plan to go live every week with some sort of a in-depth training like this. So please do that. And thanks again. Give me a like. And obviously, if you have any questions, leave comments. My team and I will do our best to get back to those. Hopefully, everybody has a wonderful week. God bless you guys. We'll see you.